69. The weather is ideal. As you see, temperature near 70. Wind should not be a factor. They say it's partly cloudy, but there's not a cloud in the sky at this point, so it looks good. Chris Palmer comes into this game knowing his quarterback will be under the gun. Palmer, as you see, his head coaching record now, but he's 2-1 this season. The Browns a confident team, and Tim Brown of the Raiders, their great receiver, said the worst kind of a team to play right now because they believe, young as they are. John Gruden, just 37 years old, got the head coaching job with the Raiders when he was 34. He's seen his team the last 2 weeks fall behind by counts of 17-0 to Denver and 21-0 the week before that to the Colts. He told us the key to this game is the first 10 minutes. They've got to get out of the gate fast to the Raiders. Janikowski, the rookie kicker from Florida State. He was the #1 pick of the Oakland Raiders, and there now is the deep man, Lindsey Jackson, going back for the Cleveland Browns. Janikowski's had some problems kicking. One of the problems on the kickoffs has been in college it's a 2-inch tee, and you kick from the 35. In the pros, it's a 1-inch tee, and you kick from the 30. He hits the ball downfield, and here comes super fast David Patton across the 20 and dives ahead to the 23-yard line. And there, the Browns will offense first and 10, and here comes sensational sophomore Tim Couch coming in with a quarterback rating of over 107. As you see his numbers, completing almost 69% of his throws, 5 touchdowns, just 1 interception, and perhaps as important any stat as the pass blocking. He's been sacked just 2 times. Was obliterated 56 times by sacks last season. Couch is confident, and he's the talk of the league right now. A penalty goes down as the Browns go to the run on first down, but there's a marker down at the line of scrimmage as Tony Bryant makes the tackle. And here is Larry Nemmers, our referee, as the clock is stopped early in the game with a penalty. Steve?
One of the things you have to know that the Browns would love.
Offside number 24, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty.
Charles Woodson, one of the corners, up close in a press defense, call for offside.
The Browns would love to be able to run the football. You know, John Gruden knows that his club is very good against the run. They have a lot of faith in guys like Charles Woodson there that can put Tim Couch on his heels. Tim Couch told us yesterday the corners are so good for Oakland. I've got to be very accurate with my short throws. The corners are going to be all over my receivers, and I've got to put the ball in a tight spot.
As you mentioned at the outset, Steve, the Raiders have knocked 2 of the 3 quarterbacks they faced out. Brian Leaf of San Diego in game 1, Brian Griese of the Broncos in game 3. Again, the Browns go to the run, and hard-running Eric Rett, who draws high praise from the Raider coaches, runs ahead for a gain of about 4 yards, 3rd and short. As we look at the offensive blockers, Oben, Bundren, Wollerball, Lindsey, and Zahersky. Pete Carmichael, the offensive coach, said they're psychos and they take great pride in what they're doing. They're doing it well. Rhett and Edwards, the backs. Johnson and Cheverino, wideouts. Rookie Aaron Shea from Michigan starts at tight end. Now the Browns go with a naked backfield. Nothing out there but wide receivers and a tight end. Tim Couch will be throwing quickly. He does. Makes a connection, and it's good for a first down to the 6-yard line to Kevin Johnson.
That has been the big difference for the Browns. Tim Couch's ability to throw the ball quickly.
The Raiders on defense. They've got great defensive tackles. A big concern for the Browns is the Raider inside pass rushers. As we look at that's the Raider offensive line. We'll be seeing them shortly. But the Raiders have Grady Jackson and Darrell Russell as the defensive line, and they're very strong. And Chris Palmer said, "Can our guards hold off their defensive teams?" Couch changes the play on first down and 10. Here comes the rush, picked up, long ball. Kevin Johnson makes a play for it, and good coverage by the Raiders. Woodson with him, stride for stride. We'll check that Oakland Raider defense. Across the front, Reagan Upshaw, Grady Jackson, Darrell Russell, maybe one of the best defensive tackles in the game, and Lance Johnstone. William Thomas, a former Eagle, Greg Biekert, who they say is the coach on the field, and Elijah Alexander back the line. 2 corners, the former Heisman winner Charles Woodson and Eric Allen at the corners. Anthony Dorsett and former Brown Marquez Pope are the safeties. 2nd down and 10. Again, Couch well protected, swings it out underneath to his fullback, but Mark Edwards is stuck and driven back. And we do have a penalty marker down in the Oakland secondary, Steve.
It's one of the first things you notice about this Cleveland Brown team that's different from a when they struggled is that Tim Couch just throws the ball on time.
Defense number 54, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Don't think that's lost on defenses like Greg Biggert. These defenses are trying to get after Tim Couch and make him prove that he can throw the ball to a hot receiver or somebody who comes out very quickly to save him from a pass rush. You'll see here he checks down, takes the short pass to his fullback there. Mark Edwards makes the catch. That's a positive play. Last year, perhaps he tries to force the ball downfield.
He's making the read so much better. He's attacking the whole field, long and short. Here's a throw up the middle. It's incomplete. And as they try to get it into a slot to Darren Chiaverini, coming with a big rush was middle linebacker Greg Biggert.
You see Tim Couch, and the improvement is really obvious. This is the first 3 starts that he has, not the first 3 games. It's the first 3 games he started. Only completed 0.2% of his passes. Now he's completing almost 70%. He's got 700 yards, 5 TDs. That's the difference in the Cleveland Browns this year. They believe Tim Couch can win games.
Well, he comes in as a 2-1 as the starter this year. Here's Couch swinging it out. The ball is caught. And running into the open field is Eric Rett. He's got a first down and more as he's inside the Raiders' 45-yard line. A gain of 16 yards on the play. The free safety, Anthony Dorsett, finally got him out. But a well-conceived play by the Browns, and they move on.
As well called as well, because as soon as Tim Couch starts to drop back and throw the ball, the Raiders up front are going to get their ears back and try and rush the passer. And if you want to stop it, let them come and throw the ball right behind him to a great back like Rett. That's a great timing call for the Browns at this point.
There's Eric Rett in his 7th year from Florida. Runs well, catches well, as you just saw. And he also blocks very well. He's the I-back, and he gets the ball on a first down carry, and the Raiders right down. Elijah Alexander, 58, one of the outside backers, was in on the stop. Also on the tackle was Marquez Pope, number 49.
And that was a blitz by the Raider defense. Elijah Alexander was coming right off the corner. The running play came right at him. That play was stopped before the ball was snapped.
But the Browns now have advanced the ball on this opening drive to the 41-yard line. 2nd down and 9. And Couch sidearms the ball to an open man. It gets the ball down to Mark Campbell. And he's down to the 26-yard line for a first down, a gain of 15 yards on the play. Beautifully done by Couch, Steve. Huge rush, stood in, released, and took the hit.
That's the difference. And you know, a lot of defensive players have a lot of respect for Tim Couch because he took all those sacks last year and didn't complain. Here he stands in the pocket and gets this sidearm down the field. You see there, that's Aaron Shea, the tight end, coming short. The play was behind him, and Tim Couch really, that's what you love to see in a young quarterback. Stood in there and made a tough throw under some heat.
Here is Rett running off tackles. He puts on a shake move and gets the ball down to the 15-yard line.
This has been the same problem that the Raiders have had in the last couple of weeks. They've given up a touchdown on their opening drives. It all starts by losing the toss. John Gruden said, you know, we have got to win a coin toss once in a while because it comes up. We're always giving up a touchdown on the first drive. We come out flat and our defense is on the field.
Well, right now, Gruden's defense on its heels. The Browns have them on the ropes. Cleveland in scoring position. First down and 10 at the 16-yard line. Couch throws, open receiver, touchdown Cleveland, Darren Chiaverini. So the Browns take it right down the field, and on the payoff end, it's Tim Couch from 16 yards out to his 2nd-year receiver, the sneak pass, Darren Chiaverini.
You can see the disgust on John Gruden's face. This is a great play by Tim Couch. You see the tight end go out, and the outside receiver just takes it out and up, fakes the out route to the sideline, and just steps up in. Tim Couch finds him. That was a well-executed, well-timed play down deep in the Raiders' end.
Well, beautifully done, Stevie. Actually, the ball was in the air before he made his final break, Chiaverini. Well synchronized, and now the extra point by Dawson. Dawson was very impressive, the most impressive I've ever seen him warming up before the game, hitting from 55 yards out.
And that's why this Cleveland Browns offense is starting to raise a few eyebrows around the National Football League. Tim Couch is a guy, this team really believes in this guy. It's his second year, but early on last year they said, wow, he's a pretty good leader. He does things right, and this year it's paying off. There are a lot of teams, and you talk to guys like Darren Shiverini. We spoke to Kevin Johnson, the other receiver, and he said, we're going to put the ball in Tim Couch's hands. We think he can win it for us, and that's saying a lot about a young quarterback.
Well, before the season started, he said, this is my team. He took a lot of heat in the preseason because he wasn't sharp a lot of the time, but he explained yesterday why that was the case. He said, we were putting a lot of new stuff in for the regular season. Kevin Johnson wasn't in. We were working with a lot of young guys. That's only getting a quarter in most preseason games.
Right, that's the thing. He was taking about 10 snaps a game in the preseason and was taking a lot of heat for those 10 snaps. He's like, come on, give him a chance to get started. But this is a Browns team, much like people say, it's all about belief. They're starting to believe they're a good football team, and they're playing like it.
Brown said they're the worst kind of a team to play right now because they believe. David Dunn and Calvin Branch are back. They try an onside kick, but the Raiders get it. So the Browns maybe getting a little bit too cute on that, taking a 7-0 lead and trying to catch the Raiders off guard with an onside kick. But Bobby Brooks, an up man to block for the kick return, quickly falls on the ball, and the Raiders get great field position. That was a gamble they lost.
That's right. You don't take that chance unless you see something on film that tells you maybe those guys are bailing out.
Gannon at he is now in his 13th year. He's been all over the league. 6 years at Minnesota, a year with the Redskins, 4 years at Kansas City. But he's coming off a Pro Bowl season with the Raiders. He's had to play catch-up all season long. Here's a handoff, and Wheatley. A slashing run inside the 40 and down to the 37-yard line. The Browns gave up a lot of run yardage last week to the Steelers. And now let's go to Jim Nantz in NFL Today in New York. Jim?
All right, Don, the Steelers and the Titans came down to a second kick. Chris Brown 50 yards out for the Steelers to send it to overtime. Comes up short. Tennessee wins it. Steelers fall by the 23-20 count for the second straight week. They're winless. Let's go back out to Oakland.
Thank you, Jim. And what a off-the-bench performance by Steve McNair. Now we have Wheatley running the ball again, and the guys start up after the play. And it looks like the carry is good for a first down to the 32-yard line by Wheatley. So Oakland has first. Welcome to Oakland. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. The Cleveland Browns took the opening kickoff, drove down the field, and on the right arm of Tim Couch to Darren Shiverini, they took a 7-0 lead. Those of you who've been watching the Tennessee Titans come from behind win over the Steelers. Then the Browns tried an onside kick here after their touchdown. The Raiders got it. Now the Raiders are moving with good field position. Gannon, the Raider quarterback, stands in, throws up the middle. It's incomplete. And that'll bring up second down as he tried to go to Tim Brown. Wally Rayner was covering on the play. Look at the Oakland Raiders on offense. They start really a first-year player left tackle, Matt Stinchcomb. He was out all of last year with a back injury. Wisniewski, Robbins, Collins, and Kennedy, all highly regarded players. Wheatley and Ritchie, the runners. Brown and the super-fast Jet are the wideouts. Ricky Dudley is the tight end out of Ohio State. Gannon, three-step drop on second down, gets an open guy. It's caught by Andre Roberts, who's hemmed in. And he's knocked down after a very short gain of about 3 yards to the Cleveland 28-yard line. Raheem Abdullah.
This is a couple of teams that would really love to go into the bye 3-1 instead of 2-1 or 2-2.
Courtney Brown, Orpheus Roy, Stalin Colonnay, and Keith McKenzie, one of the emerging standout defensive fronts in the NFL for Cleveland. Abdullah, Rayner, and Miller, who hails from Oakland, California, UCLA. Fuller and McCutch in the corner. Ellsworth and Marquise Smith are the safeties. On third down, Gannon takes a deep drop. He throws and gets his man, and Tim Brown on a crossing pattern comes underneath, and he is fouled after the play, and penalty markers come in. There'll be a personal foul against the Browns. The Raiders will have it first and goal, or close to it.
Corey Fuller's going to get thrown out of the football game. That is absolutely uncalled for. Tim Brown gave him a stiff arm in the face match. Corey Fuller took exception to it and took a shot at Brown's head. And if the referees called it as it should, Corey Fuller should be ejected.
Personal foul on Unnecessary roughness, 24 defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, they're going to let him stay, but I'll tell you what, it looked to me like Corey Fuller took a swing at his head. Anytime you take a swing at another player in anger, even if you don't connect, it's an automatic ejection. Now watch here as Tim Brown, you see there's the face mask. That's why Corey Fuller doesn't like it. He shakes it. Now watch this. You see that?
Just a little piggyback.
I think it's the right cross.
Tim Brown
right
had
here.
him right by the face mask, though.
Yeah, well, hey, you still can't retaliate in that nature.
Now the Raiders down 7-0. 1st and goal at the Browns' 8-yard line. Wheatley up the middle, and he drives down close to the 2. It'll be 2nd and goal from there. A 6-yard gain on the play. One of the safeties, Marquise Smith, was the first to hit him.
One of the things that the Raiders, they're going to make a statement about how physical the Raiders are going to be.
They're going to run left, I think, right now with Tyrone Wheatley. This is Wheatley straight up, and he drives to the goal line. Does he get in? He does. He takes it over the goal line, and so the touchdown signal is given, and the Browns try an onside kick that blows up in their face. And then the personal foul call, adding more yards to the drive, and right away the Raiders in position with an extra point. The game, so the Browns' early advantage gone in a hurry.
You know that Cleveland Browns have got to be thinking, well, we played pretty good in that first drive, but man, that offense was a load right there. You can see Chris Palmer, as good as he felt after his Browns had a long drive, the short kickoff, the onside blew up in their face and gave them great field position to the Raiders.
Janikowski drives the extra point up and good, and so the game is tied at 7-7. The Oakland Raiders will kick off, come back to Northern California. Welcome back to Oakland. After a failed onside kick attempt by the Browns, the Raiders drive 43 yards. Wheatley on the payoff end to tie the game. Tyrone Wheatley, this a lot of people think would be his last stop. Drafted #1 by the Giants. Didn't do anything there. Miami cut him, but he's been very good for the Raiders. And here's a kickoff to Lindsey Jackson. Janikowski booms it into the end zone. And Jackson, acquired after the preseason. New kick return, downs the ball wisely. It'll be 1st and 10, Cleveland at the 20 when we come back to Oakland. Cleveland has the dog pound. Here in Oakland, they call it the black hole in the end zone where the wild Raider fans are located. Cleveland Browns first points allowed in the first quarter this season, but the Raiders have the short field to go. Browns coming out with 5 wide receivers. The Raiders are going to send a blitz, and here is a quick throw and a catch, but it's going to be negated by a penalty marker before the snap of the ball. Zahersky, the right tackle, may have moved number 75.
And you saw there.
False start offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You can see Tim Couch has a plan, even though that play didn't count. You saw the blitz come off the left side. And watch how he takes this snap and just gets rid of it. Watch as the blitz is coming from Couch's left. He throws it where the blitzer came from. There's always an empty space where a guy leaves. Throw it right there, and it's a completion.
Well, he's confident against this rush. Again, he's going with 5 wideouts. Tim Couch and the Browns. On 1st and 15, more markers as Couch, as discussed, puts the ball down. Raiders and Browns stop. There's a blow to the head. That's got to be a personal foul. So we've had 2 players lose their composure early in this game, one either side, and that'll move the Browns out from deep in their own end. Down.
Yeah, that's Darryl Russell, and that was just undisciplined. They got a little shoving match, and he had to get the last push in, and he went to the face mask right with 3 officials standing around. That's bad football.
We have a false start on 75 of the offense. We have a personal foul for unnecessary roughness on the defensive team, number 96. By rule in the National Football League, the 15-yard penalty is the one enforced. It'll be a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
John Gruden knows his team needs to get off to a better start than they have in the past. Darryl Russell, there you see Tim Brown giving him the business, say, hey, we can't afford that. Now this is the end of it. Now that's not the penalty. That's the penalty. Right there, the last little shot, and you see all the flags come out. You got to tip your hat to the officials stepping in on those guys. The officials like 5'2", and these guys are 6'8". You got to step in and break that up.
Best in the business, these NFL officials, and a full explanation. The 15-yard personal foul penalty takes precedent, and that's enforced. So the Browns get out of a hole and get out to their 31st and 10. Couch changes the play as the Raiders stack inside, looking to blitz their linebackers. Here come the backers. Here's a handoff, and Eric Rhett is taken down. They blitz into the running gaps. Elijah Alexander, 58, lead tackler. Loss of 2.
One of the things that the Raiders like to do is if the Cleveland Browns get into a 2-back, they feel that they're going to run the football a major amount. They're willing to risk the play-action pass and stop the run. You'll see guys jump into the box, and they'll send a guy off the corner to stop the run in a run-down situation.
The Browns, under their new offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, with an array of formations, go to the I-back, and Rhett on second down and long is stacked for no gain. Rhett comes in to make the stop. The middle backer. The Raiders have specialized in comebacks. Look at week 2 at Indianapolis, down 21-0. They come back and win 38-31. Not so fortunate last week.
Right, they came back from a 17-0 and then a 24-7 deficit to actually give themselves a chance to win, but couldn't hang on and lost by 9 points. John Gruden just wants to keep his team even for the first 10 minutes for a change and not get down by 3 scores. They're doing it right now.
You see Cleveland with the dominance over its opposition and scoring in the first quarter. This one's tied. Hands in, takes his time, fires. What a throw as Couch gets it downfield to Kevin Johnson on a 3rd down and long play. And he throws for 12 yards and a first down. 3rd and 11, he throws for 12. What a throw.
That was a great throw, a deep out. It's the most difficult throw in football. He's on the outside part of the field. The ball's on the opposite hash. He stops and comes back, and the quarterback has got to put a lot on that throw, because if he doesn't, a cornerback in the NFL will pick it off.
I like Steve Johnson told us yesterday, we've got nothing to lose. We're out there to do what it takes to get points and win games. There he is, the second-year receiver out of Syracuse, who was himself a tremendous high school quarterback. Handoff goes to Eric Rhett. He breaks it on first down and gets out to the 48-yard line. So they find room on the outside. It looks like a rugby scrum out there. The whistle's blowing, but people aren't stopping.
No, they're not. The officials are more out there for traffic control right now. They're not. They're being questioned every play. They're going to have to step in on fights and everything. You see there, John Gruden and Chuck Bresnahan there with doing the hand signals. This is a team that just wants to stay even in the first quarter. They have struggled in their starts in these games, and right now Chuck Bresnahan wants to get after Tim Couch and shut down the run. He's got his hands full.
Game tied. Ball at midfield as the Browns go 1st and 10. Right back to hard-running Eric Rhett, the 7th-year back to the first-year Brown. Hey, you're talking to John Gruden at the Raiders practice. He had high praise for Eric Rhett. Don't wait. Get up-to-the-minute results on all Olympic events and complete standings with the Medal Tracker, plus in-depth analysis, including features by CBS Sports basketball analyst Billy Packer. Just click on Olympics at cbs.sportsline.com.
You see there Chuck Bresnahan with the defense. At one point in this season, he's got 9 guys that weren't even Raiders last year playing on his defense at any given point.
Bresnahan coached with the Browns 95 on 2nd down and 7. Eric Rhett, who likes to get the ball a lot, is getting it, and he takes it inside the 45-yard line, where he's taken down by Greg Biekert. Rhett comes
discipline, and it cost him.
Now the Browns go with 1 back, 4 wideouts. Couch with a quick throw, and it's almost picked as he fired the ball on the near flank. And William Thomas, the longtime veteran from Texas A&M, who played for Gruden when both were with the Eagles, a 2-time bowler, almost had a pick.
You see there the receiver right inside the number. He's going to come up and just stop right at the first down marker. Tim Couch threw that ball back down the stem of his route, thought he was going to come out and go back towards the line of scrimmage to break away from the linebacker. The receiver kind of faked the quarterback out on that play.
And that means that Darian Gordon will be back to take the punt. Ready to hit the ball is Chris Gardocki, maybe the NFL's best punter, averaging 49 yards a punt, 42 yards net. This one caroms into the end zone for a touchback at the Raider 20, 1st and 10, a 44-yard punt. but only 24 yards net on the touchback. This is the Goodyear blimp is floating over today's game. The Eagle is one of 7 airships in the Goodyear blimp fleet. Browns come a-hitting as the Raiders go to Wheatley on the run, trying to power the ball at them. Gannon, the 13-year veteran out of Delaware. There's Gannon.
You see there, he had a BB gun for a long time, and last year he moved up to a howitzer. That's a career year for a guy who struggled for a long time in the National Football League.
Well, Al Cassell, the longtime Raider executive, said one of the things they especially like about him is a lot of quarterbacks that can run and throw, but they run, stop, and throw. He is accurate running and throwing on the run. Here's a handoff again to Wheatley, turning wide, and Wheatley gets ahead, and Wheatley has a first down and more as he takes it across the 35-yard line and out close to the 38. A 14-yard run on the play.
Tyrone Wheatley is one of those guys, he's a big bruiser, but as you he also has great vision. Now watch as he comes up, he's going to move out the outside, and one of the things about a running game, you've got to have guys outside that'll block. You see Tim Brown out in front of him. The defensive back's on the ground because Tim Brown put him there and gives Tyrone Wheatley a chance to get 7 more yards. That's great team running game.
And Wheatley building up the yards, Steve. He's helped up there. He has run, as you see, 6 times for 36 yards. Now Napoleon Kaufman, who's even more of a long ball threat running the ball. He's in the backfield. Kaufman with 152 yards rushing, but most impressive, 8.9 a carry.
That's exactly right. You might wonder why Tyrone Wheatley came out. He's one of the considerations here playing at home, especially on a day when it's sunny and hot, is Napoleon Kaufman has been troubled by cramps and dehydration during the course of these long games. They're trying to take him off kickoff returns and spread him a little thinner in the offense, give him less of a load to carry, and also the same thing with Tyrone Wheatley. They want to keep them fresh for 4 quarters.
On first down, Kaufman gets the ball, bounces wide, and bounces into trouble, and now a comes down. Fired in by the referee Nemmers from behind the play. He complete defensive end. Raiders were holding. That'll set them back. Already this season in 3 games for the Browns. Second down along 12. Here's the rush on Gannon, and there's the good feet as he sidearms the ball. And then an excellent open field tackle as coming up to make the play is Raheem Abdullah. A gain of just 5 yards on the play.
And that's something you never saw a year ago. Who the Cleveland Browns played, they never made their quarterback move around in the pocket and throw the football. That was
pretty. Jordan's in the backfield. He had a tremendous play last week against the Broncos. Blocked the punt and then ran it in for a touchdown. Running from scrimmage here, Gannon takes a look. Near side throw. It's caught. There's open field. On the fly is Andre Rison. 1 man to beat. And finally they get him down inside the 15-yard line. So Andre Rison left uncovered, breaks the big play, a 47-yard gain.
This has been a guy that has been a huge pickup for the Oakland Raiders. He can make plays. He's been in the league a long time. That guy's got over 700 catches in the National Football League, and the Raiders picked him up and added him to Tim Brown, who also has Hall of Fame numbers himself. That is a huge pickup, and the thing about Andre Rison isn't the numbers so much, is the attitude he brings. John Gruden said, I want my young guys to mold themselves after him.
And that is the end of the first quarter with the score of the Browns 7 and the Raiders will return after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Background cross. We now start the second quarter. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Raiders challenging to break this tie game 7-7. Wheatley's back in the game as the I-back behind Ritchie. This is Wheatley. Good run defense by the Browns as he's taken down by Jameer Miller and thrown out of bounds on the far side of the field. A loss on the play of about 4 yards. Coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Join Jim Nance, Mike Ditka, Craig James, and Jerry Glanville for all the scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report.
Second and 13 for the 15.
Back outside by beautiful Central Park in New York. They're standing by, but right now we've got almost the full second quarter to play. Browns drove early, scored on a 16-yard touchdown pass. Couch to Shiverini. Raiders came right back, scoring on a run by Wheatley. Now the Raiders challenging to break the tie. Gannon with time on the rollout. There he is throwing on the run to an open receiver. It's Ricky Dudley, the tight end, and the Brown coaches were concerned about him getting more involved in the offense. Former #1 pick out of Ohio State is ahead for a gain of 13 yards and a first down.
Well, John Gruden knows that Ricky Dudley causes some problems in matchups for defenses. Rich Gannon can
Back. They're set strong to the right. That's where the power blocking is. Here is Wheatley up the middle. He's in. Raiders take the lead. 2-yard run as the Raider offensive line. Stinchcomb, Wisniewski, Robbins, Collins, and Kennedy blasted open the Browns defense.
No secrets there, Don. That's just power football. They saw it once. It worked down at the other end of the football field in the first quarter on their first touchdown. They're going to run this down close every play until the Browns prove they can stop it.
Janikowski with the extra point try. Drives it up and through, and so the Browns come back with 14 points to come from behind and take the lead, 14-7. Tyrone Wheatley with 2 touchdowns already. Look at this blocking. Great block by Wisniewski. Oakland. And Tyrone Wheatley, the former All-American runner from Michigan, has already been in the end zone twice as the Raiders have taken 14-7. Here's the kickoff. Patton picks it up on the 1/2. It is 6-10. And he gets to the 19-yard line. One of the most improved areas of the Raiders is their special teams play. They brought in a new special teams coach, Bob Casulo, who last year was at Michigan State. He has been a difference maker, and they make a good coverage stop on the kick return. Browns have it when we come back. Go 1st and 10 with rookie Travis Prentice now in at running back. Couch with a big rush against him, downs the ball. It's incomplete.
They stopped the play before it happened. The official on the sideline threw his flag. David Patton was in motion before the play.
Prior to the snap, false start offense, number 82, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Let's check now the task at hand.
Well, one of the things that the Cleveland Browns have to do, here's the task at hand for them. They've got to give Napoleon Kaufman a complex. They can't let the Raider running game get going. Even Wheatley has been a factor, and Tim Couch has got to throw the potato like it was a hot potato. And for the Raiders, they've got to keep their defense off the field. They've defended 70 plays a week. That's too many. And just find their mantra. Just win, baby. They want to go into the bye week 3-1.
Couch stands in. Here's a blitz. Beautiful throw by Couch, and Prentice, the rookie, breaks it up the sideline with a first down. Now going to rule him out of bounds just short of the first down, as they rule out that he's out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. But a well-executed play, gain on the play.
This is the difference in Tim. Yeah, this is the difference in Tim Couch. You see here, he sees the blitz, knows he's got a guy there, and that's his whole mindset. Tim Couch is attacking the defense with all his arsenals this year. He's not just running an offense, he's attacking, and that's been the difference for the Cleveland Browns.
2nd and short now. Good run defense by the Raiders on Travis Prentice from Miami of Ohio, who set an NCAA record with 78 touchdowns during his career. Roderick Coleman, 57, was the tackler. One
of the things they're doing with Travis Prentice is they're giving him the 3rd series of every game and the 6th series of every game, so he can come in and start to work into the offense. Eric Rhett, it's nothing that Eric Rhett has anything to do with, but it's something the coaching staff wants to do to get Travis Prentice's feet wet.
Big down now, and the Raiders jam the box. Look at all the people they're bringing up tight. Daring Couch to throw. Drop, takes a look. He's in trouble. Buying time. He's going to get the first down. Or is it? No, he didn't get there. He cut to the sidelines. He looked like he definitely had the angle for the first down, and then he cut back, and Woodson runs him out of bounds, so the Browns have to punt.
Tim Couch underestimated the speed of Charles Woodson. He thinks he turns the corner as he comes out of the pocket. You'll see here he comes out. He's got Darren Shiverini right in front of him. He says, you know what, it's safer just to take it myself. And all of a sudden, Charles Woodson comes up from nowhere and snaps that play off. That's just the speed of the defense that Tim Couch wasn't ready for.
Darian Gordon back now for the punt. Gardocki hits one downfield. Gordon lets it hit. It takes a bounce back at the Browns. And finally, Tarek Saleh watches it as it rolls to the far boundary at the 34-yard line. This game turned. The Browns leading 7-0 then, and an onside kick blow up. 11:56 left to go in the first half. Rushing numbers pretty even, Steve, so far.
Yeah, 31 for Cleveland, 32 for Oakland, but let's face it, Oakland has been much more effective in their running game than Cleveland has been thus far.
This is a critical series for the Browns defense. They've got to get the ball back without giving points. Here is a run, and again they break it for some yards. Do the Raiders. Tyrone Wheatley is across the 40 for 6. This fall on CBS, the most wanted man in America is innocent. Tim Daly and Michael T. Williamson star in The Fugitive. The chase is on. Run. Tyrone Wheatley has been on the run for the Raiders. He has scored 2 touchdowns on short runs. Biggest play of the game, the 47-yarder to Andre Rison that set up the second touchdown. And here is Wheatley again, the power back, 230 pounds. Taken down by Jameer Miller, but he has a first down for the Raiders to the 45.
Yeah, one of the things the Raiders, we felt like they were going to come in and try and run the football. We thought we would see probably a little more Napoleon Kaufman. Tyrone Wheatley was on the sidelines a moment ago, getting his ankle wrapped. He had twisted it a little bit earlier in the game. He's back in there. Obviously, it has not affected him that much. This is a guy that wants the football a lot.
Reason the Raiders had at one point not long ago just 32 yards rushing because sack yardage comes off run total. So it's been lost yardage there, but Wheatley's been plus yards every carry, this time short, but albeit plus. He's ahead for a 2-yard gain, and it's second down and 8. Condolences go out to Mr. and Mrs. Al Lerner, Al, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, on the death of Mrs. Lerner's mother. Because of that, Al Lerner's not here today, nor is the team's president and CEO, Carmen Policy. But we send our very best and our sympathies to the Lerner family, as right now the Cleveland Browns, after taking a 7-0 lead, dig in on defense. The Raiders in an unusual position, leading early in the game. They've been a comeback team, but they actually had to come from behind so far in this one. And now Gannon does good work to throw the ball away. As coming hard was Keith McKenzie.
That was what the Browns needed a year ago. They needed somebody to put the pressure on the quarterback, and this was a short step drop. Gannon just dropped back, tried to get rid of the ball, and Keith McKenzie was in his face right away. And that's the reason Romeo Crennel, the defensive coordinator, he's a fun guy to talk to. He really enjoys his job, and he's really thankful for the opportunity here in Cleveland. He's fun.
Delightful guy. Somebody told me he was a terrific college player. Here's a 3rd down and 8 coming up. Down for the Raiders. Gannon, here's the blitz. They pick it up. Here's a throw. It's incomplete, and the Raiders will have to punt as it skips off the hands of Andre Rison. There is Andre Rison. Man, he's a lot of balls. Tim Brown even better. 13 seasons, 786 catches, 77 for touchdowns, a Raider record.
That is a heck of a combo you see there. And this is Andre Rison, the guy they brought in, both of them over 700 catches. And look at the 79 TDs by Andre Rison. That is phenomenal. That is some pressure you can put on a defense.
And there is Tim Brown, who's going to one day have the football hat trick. He's won the Heisman Trophy. He'll also go into the College Hall of Fame from his playing days at Notre Dame, and he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer in the NFL. He's been a great player.
You keep track of those Notre Dame guys, don't you?
When they're that good.
It's hard. Not hard when it's Tim Brown, I guess.
And a terrific leader on the team. Here is a bad punt. A punt by Leckway, the rookie from Texas A&M, who's been a real good punter so far this year, but not on that one. So he comes off the side of his foot, and the Browns will take over the ball at the 30.
On CBS is sponsored Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. Fidelity Investments. And by Mitsubishi Motors, the 2001 Galant. Wake up and drive.
Back to Oakland. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Both quarterbacks off to good starts. Tim Couch of the Browns is at 6 of 9 for 75 yards and a touchdown. He gets the ball now in an important drive.
And this is the key for the Browns. They've got to stay on the football field offensively.
Couch hands off. It's a short gain as the Raiders stack the run. And again, a penalty marker is lobbed in after the carrier was down. Browns and the Raiders have not met in the regular season since '93.
Prior
Was
to the
in
snap,
Los Angeles.
False start, offense, number 61, 5-yard penalty.
Another false
Still
start
first
for
down.
the Browns. That's been a nemesis today. Everett Lindsey, the right guard. Right side of the line's had some problems, Zahersky and Lindsey, but these guys have been tremendous blockers. Now almost 3.5 games they've allowed their young quarterback to be sacked a total of twice. So the coaches don't like the false starts, but they love the effort of this offensive line. It's the reason the Browns are off to a winning start as much as anything. Pass offense starts with pass blocking. Here's a blitz, and they go to the draw, and they break it. Eric Redd is on the run. It's a foot race now. Guys have angles on him, but he's going to get it down inside the 35-yard line. As Anthony Dorsett comes on the fly, and also Torrey James. It's unbelievable how fast these D-backs can run.
That is a courageous play. You know, it's so difficult to say, okay, we're going to let those guys come in and hand the ball right in front of them. And these plays are called. They knew it was the Browns knew that play was a possibility. They saw the blitz, stayed with it, and Eric Redd just got to try and get down the sideline. You see the defensive backfield of the Raiders and the speed that they put on the football field. Eric Redd got run down like a wounded puppy right there, but that's a big game.
He was running on fumes there at the end, but Eric did break it for 45 yards. First down, Browns inside the 35-yard line. To Travis Prentice. Nowhere to go. Raider D stacks it up. We asked the Browns coach Chris Palmer, keys to the game, number one. He said, can their defensive tackle overrun our offensive guards?
And that's been a key thus far. This team has got to be able to stay on the football field offensively, because once the Raiders get the football, that running game, as we've seen already, is going to grind it out against the Browns. And you'll see here as Travis looks for a spot, and there's just nothing there. The Raiders are bringing everything they can to make Tim Couch drop back and try and beat them through the air.
They bring Mark Edwards, the fullback, way out to the near side. The lower right-hand portion of your screen is a wide receiver. Couch takes a look. They give him time. He throws a long ball. He's got it, but he comes in high. Gunning the ball at Kevin Johnson, as Tim Couch had an open receiver, but was a bit high with his throw.
Charles Woodson just flat fell down. Just completely fell down. You'll see here as he comes out, Kevin Johnson up, and Woodson just loses his and that's it. That's a touchdown waiting to happen, and they just can't connect. Anthony Dorsett was right there at the end, but that is a huge play if they can just connect. You don't get your DBs falling down once in a while, especially Charles Woodson. You got to take advantage of it.
Now the very fast David Patton's at the top of your screen. They could go long to him here on 3rd down and 10. Couch takes a look. Here comes the rush. Throw up the middle. It's caught by Prentice. Looking to break it, and he dives down to the 25. He's short of the first down by 2. And that brings up 4th and 2, and the field goal unit comes out. Monday on CBS, the final week of Big Brother is here. Only 4 guests remain, and one will walk away with $500,000. Who will be nominated for banishment next? That's Monday on CBS.
Here's the Browns line up for a field goal. Phil Dawson is a guy who was signed by the Raiders for a while. As he lines up, and he's had a good season. He's only had short attempts, but he is 4 for 4.
Yeah,
he doesn't miss the ones he's supposed to make.
This is a 42-yard attempt. He's had no attempts of over 40 yards yet this year till now. Hey, he looked tremendous warming up. He hits it downfield, and he's no good. You no sooner say it than you jinx him.
Don't blame me.
No, I said it. Dawson misses a relatively easy field goal, and the Raiders take over the ball, leading the game 14-7. Back to Oakland. Raiders have the ball on a 14-7 lead after taking over the ball after the missed 42-yard field goal wide right by Cleveland kicker Phil Dawson. Gannon play fake, stands in, lobs a pass. It's taken by his fullback Ritchie, who was leveled by Raheem Abdullah, who is a very improved player, a second-year backer from Clemson. Big stick, gain of about 3 yards, maybe 4. Second down and a long 6.
You get the feeling that this Cleveland Browns team feels a little bit more comfortable against Rich Gannon throwing the football than they have against Tyrone Wheatley running it. Tyrone Wheatley, between the tackles, has done a lot of damage, and you can bet they're going to get a big dose of him right here on 2nd and 6.
Getting a pretty good sized dose also, Steve, of Gannon, who's hit 6 of 9 throws for 87 yards, 47 yards, and 1 toss to Andre Rison. There's a throw downfield as they shoot long to Tim Brown, and he is well covered on the play by Corey Fuller. Brown, I tell you, in the Raiders passing workout yesterday, it was Brown underneath, Brown deep. They were really concentrating on Tim Brown.
Yeah, he's a guy you want to find ways to get the ball to. I mean, you'll see, Tim Brown is just a guy that when you talk about it, he's a guy, when the alarm clock rings, he's there. This is 7 straight years of 1,000 yards. There's only 2 other guys in the history of the National Football League that have done that. Jerry Rice and Chris Carter. Both of those guys are active as well, but Tim Brown is approaching legendary status.
He's the only Raider in history to score touchdowns on a reception, a run, a punt return, and a kick return. Long ball, and it's off the hands. Defended at the last moment as they go deep to James Jett, and the rookie Lewis Sanders, a first-year player from Maryland, who has 1 interception already, defending nicely. And the Raiders have to punt as this game now settles down now with defenses starting to take over a bit.
You see, here's James going down. There's not too many guys in the National Football League that can run with James Jett, and the problem is, one of the things they do to defend him is to be physical. He's not very big, and that's the key to defending James Jett.
He's not big at all. 5'10", 165. He did all right. A little bit about that side. Here's a kick downfield now to Northcutt from the 7. He's a flyer, and Dennis Northcutt, working his way through traffic, is out to the 25-yard line. And with 6:38 to play in the first half, Browns will take over the ball. 1st down and 10. The Browns down by 7, ready to go 1st and 10 from their 25-yard line. Their corners come up and press. Again, good time for Couch, and he fires the ball, gets his man, tight end Mark Campbell, the 2nd-year tight end from Michigan, makes the catch, but for no gain. A very nice hit by Woodson, his former teammate at Michigan. One
of the things that's nice for the Cleveland Browns right now is they're not having to keep 6 or 7 or 8 people in to protect Tim Couch. They're getting good protection up front. And it's funny, that offensive line of the Browns takes it personal that he was sacked so many times. And the funny thing is, 4 of those guys weren't even there last year.
That's right. They still look back. Everybody talks about it. He's not been sacked today, only twice all season. 2nd down and 9. From a double tight end set, Couch takes a look, fires down the field, and he's picked off. Linebacker William Thomas grabs the ball, heading inside the 40, and he's down to the 38-yard line. A tremendous play by William Thomas, his 2nd interception of the season, the former Eagle standout, and he runs it back 12 yards.
There's no back down in Tim Couch. He was standing out there taking on the block of Lance Johnstone. The quarterback throws an interception.
That was a tremendous play.
Fair game block, but this is a tremendous play. Tim Couch, I know, you got to think when he lets this go, he thinks he made it complete. That's a great play by William Thomas. That's an athletic play. Tim Couch thought he had a big one, and William Thomas took it away. Here's what happened after the play. He's trying to get away, and now it's just hanging on. That's all fun and games. That's all right. Oh, now that's a little bit uncalled for.
Here's a handoff to Wheatley. Comes wide right and gets down to the 36-yard line. The official should step in there and blow a whistle in somebody's face. You got a guy grabbing a quarterback. The #1 job of the referee in the National Football League, #1 job, is to protect the quarterback.
Well, the problem is when Tim Couch throws a pick, he becomes fair game. He becomes a defender. He's not a quarterback anymore. His
face mask is not fair game. That's what he had him by. 9th Raiders takeaway this year. Ball down now to the 36-yard line as the Raiders break the huddle and send a lone wideout, Tim Brown, wide to the left. Kaufman is the deep back. Gannon, who has also been well protected, sidearms the ball in an underneath pattern to the tight end, Ricky Dudley. It's interesting, Steve, that the Brown coaches were concerned about Dudley emerging in this game, and he's made a couple catches. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company has dispatched its Carson, California-based blimp Eagle to provide these aerial pictures. Goodyear blimps have been appearing over sporting events since 1925.
One of the things now, the Raiders are dropping back and throwing the ball, getting away from Tyrone Wheatley a little bit because the Browns are starting to pack in their defense around the line of scrimmage and throwing extra guys to stop the run. They've been forced to do that by Rich Gannon.
3rd down and 2. Gannon on the run, makes a connection. Diving ahead, trying to get the 1st down, and let's see if he did. It looks like he did. Is Andre Rison. Rison was a tremendous basketball player. He actually went to Michigan State on a basketball scholarship. He broke Magic Johnson's high school record for assists in the state of Michigan.
Andre Rison is just a guy that makes football plays. I mean, there may be bigger guys, faster guys, but he is an athlete, and he has the ability to concentrate harder when the game is on the line, and that's a champion's heart.
You can see those basketball hands and feet, though. Here's a pitch, and it goes to Kaufman, and Kaufman is inside the 20-yard line. The guy who came in averaging almost 9 yards a carry does get 9 on that play, and very close to a 1st down. Let's see where they mark the ball. It might be a 10-yard game where they mark it.
Napoleon Kaufman is a scary individual for Raider opponents. And he's very small. He's a 5'9". He weighs 185 pounds. And when he stands back there and runs behind that big offensive line, it sounds crazy, but you can actually lose him in there. All those guys wear black. All their things, you know, he kind of disappears, and he's so fast, he emerges 5 yards from where he disappeared.
That was a 9-yard gain, and here's Kaufman again as he cuts up the middle. He's not big, and as you pointed out, he has trouble with heat, although it's not real hot today. He only weighs 181 pounds. He was a California sprint champion in the 100 meters.
Well, the problem is when you're that much in shape, when he's got like no body fat, sometimes you feel like you need to put a little something on him so he stays hydrated. He's got nothing to sweat out. I mean, the guy is in such good shape. And it gets hot on these days, and you give him the ball 25 times. Takes a lot out of a guy his size, especially when he's taking punishment on top of the effort.
Another interesting thing about Kaufman, he always carries the ball in his left arm. Another back who does that is Emmitt Smith. He won't carry it in his right arm, either of them. Sometimes it can be dangerous if you're running right. Expose the ball to the defense. Now there's a timeout signal for with 2:43 left to play in the 1st half. John Gruden's Raiders in the lead and challenging. Final week of Big Brother is here. Only 4 guests reach to catch the television phenomenon of the year. Then stay tuned for Family Law. It's all Monday on CBS. Right now on this drive, it's all Raiders as they go back to the run. And Kaufman, look at that move by Napoleon Kaufman, breaking wide, cutting back, driving inside for an 11-yard gain to make it 1st and goal for the Raiders at the 2.
Not only does Napoleon Kaufman carry this ball down inside the 5-yard line, it's almost as though he makes his own blocks. As he comes out here, you'll see the offensive linemen all out there. He makes the defenders run where he wants them to run, so his linemen can make blocks. He sets up every block that happens for himself and gives himself an extra 6 yards with a move before the defenders are even in the area.
John Gruden, who started as an assistant coach with the 49ers in his 20s, lowest paid guy on the whole roster. I'll tell you more about John Gruden's start. He was an offensive coordinator who was only 31 and a head coach at 34. NASDAQ.com halftime report. Join Jim Nantz, Mike Ditka, Craig James, and Jerry Glanville for all the scores and highlights. All coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. You're talking about John Gruden when he was in his early 20s out of the University of Dayton, where he was a quarterback. He was an assistant with the 49ers. He said he used to park his old Oldsmobile Delta 88 right next to Joe Montana's Maserati. Joe told him he's got some catching up to do.
That's right. This is a guy who's paid his dues in the coaching ranks and paid them early, and he became a very young head coach. And one of the reasons you see there is Rich Gannon getting his team on the ball. The reason John Gruden is a cutting-edge guy. He's in computers. He's into the cutting-edge technology of the National Football League. He's been schooled in the West Coast offense. He's a guy very much in the modern age in the National Football League, and that's why he was ready to be a head coach so young.
Very upbeat guy who has an additional advantage is he requires virtually no sleep. 3 or 4 hours a night, that's it. Handoff, running back, taking it in. Touchdown, Zach Crockett, a former Florida State runner. He doesn't get the ball much. A tough inside runner. He does just that. Very upbeat guy who has an additional advantage is he requires virtually no sleep. 3 or 4 hours a night. That's it. Handoff. Cutting back. Taking it in. Touchdown, Zach Crockett, a former Florida State runner. He doesn't get the ball much. A inside runner. He does just that. And gets it into the end zone. And the Browns, this whole game changed. The Browns took the opening kickoff, drove down the field with their best offensive display of the year, went ahead 7-0, tried an onside kick that was a disaster. They've not been in the game since.
And look there, see, right there, Steve Wisniewski just pulls around the corner and leads Zach Crockett right into the end zone. Zach Crockett can play every position in the backfield, and they use him that way.
Janikowski hits the point after up and through. So now Tim Couch and the Browns are forced to play catch up. They'll have to go all out passing with just 1:17 left to play. 3 rushing touchdowns for the Raiders today as they take command. 21-7 lead. They have now scored 21 answered points after that early drive of the Browns to take the lead.
That touchdown was a trick play. You see here, Steve Wisniewski pulled out from the right guard, Eric from the left guard, but it was a heavy line. They had an extra man on the line of scrimmage to the left of the center and gave Cleveland defense all kinds of problems.
And a terrific job there by Mark Campbell, a tight end who fielded a knuckleball, caught it in the air, and then ran it back. And so the Browns, with not much time, 1:14 to go, do start with good field position outside to the 37-yard line of Cleveland. See the Raiders scoring drive set up by the interception by William Thomas.
Zach Crockett, you heard me say that he can play every position in the backfield. He can play halfback, fullback, eight-back, tight end. You got to have guys like that on your roster that are versatile and can play different spots because depth is such a concern in the National Football League now.
Couch now 8 of 13 throwing for 84 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's got speed to the top of your screen. That's Patton against Woodson. Couch stands in, makes the throw, connection. It's caught by Eric Rett. And he gets ahead and is taken down at the 43-yard line by William Thomas. So the Raiders back in a zone coverage, not giving up much yardage. There was an 11-yard gain on that play. A 7-yard gain on the play. Now they're throwing a pick, and this is William Thomas who will run it in for a touchdown. A brilliant play for William Thomas as he runs it back 46 yards for a touchdown. Now they're throwing a pick, and this is William Thomas who will run it in for a touchdown. A brilliant day for William Thomas as he runs it back 46 yards for a touchdown.
Tim Couch may have thrown 2 interceptions, but that was the first bad throw he's made. You'll see there, he whips it sideways. You see he stepped up the field and whipped it to the sidelines. He wasn't throwing that. It was a, I might throw here, and then he changed his mind in mid-swing and threw it to the sideline and did not see William Thomas break on the football.
And how could the Eagles ever waive a player of that category? William Thomas, a 2-time Pro Bowler who looks like a first-team All-Pro today. 2 tremendous plays by William Thomas on interceptions, in addition to making tackles over. And he put the knockout punch on with 42 seconds to play in the first half.
Watch as Tim Couch drops back to pass. You can see his eyes all over the football field. He's going to step this way, but throw it this way. You'll see how the ball, he stepped forward and then looked at the last moment at where he was throwing it and did not see William Thomas. That's really the only play that Tim Couch has not been on today, but William Thomas has been all over the field.
Well, that's as off as you can be. It's still been a tremendous year for Couch, and I can guarantee with his resolve, he's going to be firing the rest of this day.
And John Gruden's got to feel much better about his team's first half performance than he has the last 2 weeks. The Raiders team have always felt if they could just get off to a better start in these games, they would be very tough to handle, and they're proving it every inch of the way today.
Janikowski bangs it downfield. Here comes David Patton. Slips and goes down at the 19-yard line, and the Browns have 37 seconds to work with. Next Saturday on CBS, Heisman hopeful Michael Vick sparks the Virginia Tech Hokies against the BC Eagles, where All-American Alex Brown and the Florida Gators will be taking on Mississippi State. The Home Depot College football begins with Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman on Volkswagen College Football Today. Now it's Chris Palmer's Browns up against it. After taking a 7-0 lead, the Raiders have steamrolled them, leading 28-7. Handoff to Rhett. And the Browns coaches, you can understand their thinking, and deep in with very little time, you don't want to risk a turnover.
And that's Grady Jackson busting through on the interior of the line, stopping that play. And this is how the last 4 possessions have gone for the Browns. 2 interceptions, a missed field goal, and a punt. That is not the way it looked when the Browns came out on that first series.
Couch is in the shotgun, ready to throw. Here comes the blitz. They pick it up. Absolutely terrific pass blocking, and he throws the ball away. And that will do it for the first half of play. So the Oakland Raiders getting a standing ovation at their home field. The end of the first half with the Raiders in the lead 28-7. We'll send you back to Jim Nantz in New York right after these messages. Onside kick, which really kind of turned things around.
Well, the 2 big plays were the interceptions by Tim Couch. One was a phenomenal play by William Thomas where he picked it up, and then another one was just a great miscommunication by Tim Couch. Watch here as he throws this ball. He thinks this ball's complete, but William Thomas, that's a great athletic play, and that's exactly what a linebacker has to do when covering a tight end. The other play was a bad throw by Tim Couch. William Thomas had his man covered exactly as he should have. And he under it. There's nobody there to stop him. Those 2 plays, this one obviously led to 7 points. The first interception also led to 7 points a few plays later. That's 14 points on 2 turnovers. The score is 28-7, and that is the huge difference in the game.
It really is when you look at the stats. They're very, very balanced. Look at all except the turnovers. Browns have turned it over twice, interceptions, no turnovers for the Raiders, and
even the time of possession is fairly close. There's maybe 1 or 2 plays different, and all those things are into the Raiders game plan. They want to get off to a fast start and keep their defense off the field.
Well, one thing you know about the Browns, they're going to fight and fire the ball the rest of the way, so let's see if they can get back in it. We do know that the Raiders have given up points in huge bunches at different times this season. Here is a tremendous kickoff hit deep into the end zone for a touchback, and the ball will now come out to the 20, first down and 10.
Now, if you're Raiders, you know that you're going to come out here and you're going to do some of the same things you did in the first half. Try and run the football right at this Browns defense. Make them pack all of their defenders in there to stop Tyrone Wheatley, and then let Rich Gannon throw the football to probably the fastest, most athletic core of receivers in the National Football League of Tim Brown, Andre Rison, and James Jett.
Raiders with a 28-7 lead. Go first down and 10. Right back to the run. Looking for it all the way was number 99, the left tackle Orpheus Roy, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, making a stop.
This Orpheus Roy is part of the group up front for the Browns, who is a huge upgrade from the front 4 they had a year ago, along with Keith McKenzie, Stalin Collinet, and of course Courtney Brown, the #1 pick of the draft, who that was the right pick. I mean, let's just put it that way. That's the guy that every team wishes they had a chance to get in this draft.
Well, and this is the Brown management now more than ever believes he was the right choice, and so does everyone else in the league as the #1 pick, Courtney Brown. Now an errant pass, so it'll be 3rd down and long, and we'll see if the Browns can hold on 3rd down, and if they do, they'll take over in good field position.
And Courtney Brown started off, and the thing about him is, when you talk to Romeo Crennel, he said, he's playing exactly the way he should play. He's doing everything we ask. He's in the right spot all the time. What I would like him to do is learn where he can take it. He's got such ability that when he learns what everybody else is doing and when a good time is to gamble and try and get in on the passer with a little bit maybe of a risky move, he is going to be great.
Right now, we'll see him coming on the rush. Here's the big pass rush, and Gannon runs out of trouble again. Penalty markers fired in. Gannon runs for a first down, but it's coming back. There was a holding call on the play. Umpire threw in the flag as the Browns were on him and ready to grab him, and the blockers did the thing.
And even though the Browns, are down 3 scores, this is a team that is highly improved, and the Raiders knew that.
Grab him and hold him before they can hit your quarterback with a clean shot.
Yeah, a year ago, nobody had to hold any Browns defenders because nobody could get to the quarterback anyway.
There's the hold.
There's the hold right there. That's Steve Wisniewski.
That was a good one.
Yeah, you take those.
Held him good.
Yeah. Get your money's worth if you're going to hold them.
Cleveland came into the game with 14 sacks, second in the NFL to Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers started the day with 18. No sacks today, either way.
You got to tip your hat to the Raiders. They came in here in a team that was still considered an expansion team, but they didn't take them lightly. They prepared very hard for this Cleveland Browns team.
Pitch up the middle, and the Browns shut it down. And so Cleveland with a stop on the opening drive of the third quarter. Courtney Brown makes the stop. He didn't buy the fake as he, with one big arm, cut down the runner.
Now see if you notice a pattern here. These are the Raiders touchdowns. You'll see here a 2-yard run. Tyrone right up the middle. He forces his way in. Then the next touchdown, 2-yard run. Tyrone Wheatley right up the middle between the guards. And then another touchdown coming up that was later was a Zach Crockett touchdown, 2 yards off the left side. So if you notice a pattern there, you should.
Punt is tremendous. Hit down the field. Leckler, the rookie, backpedaling and getting the ball and sprinting into an open gap and getting out to the 35-yard line to give the Cleveland now on a return by Northcutt field position to 35. That was a 68-yard punt by the rookie from Texas A&M. Break the huddle, down 28-7 after they led this game 7-0 with the opening drive, a 16-yard touchdown pass from Couch to Shiverini on the payoff end. Now let's see what Couch can do. He goes to the run. They hold to their offensive game plan and try to keep the pass rush honest and get a gain of about 3 yards as Eric Rett takes it straight in.
You'll see here is coming in. Darrell Russell is a guy coming right off the line. Grady Jackson runs right by the play. Darrell Russell gets through so quickly. You'd like to have those problems as a defensive lineman. You're getting through there so quickly, the running back's already through the hole. You run right by him with your penetration. And that's the key for those interior guys, penetration.
He was the #1 pick of the Raiders in '97 out of Southern California. Darrell Russell, one of the very best inside rushers in the league. Here's Couch on the run. They get him. He gets back to the line of scrimmage to the 35-yard line where Tony Bryant ran him down.
That's the first sack of the day for Tim Couch. And this is a good sack. Tony Bryant comes up and watch him as he stays with it. Tim Couch has nowhere to go. Cornerbacks and coverage people do an excellent job, and Tony Bryant steps in and pursues. There's a guy that's really benefited from a nice little competition with Regan Upshaw for some playing time. Both those guys are better for it.
There you see sacks allowed 60 last season, just 3 so far this year. Couch stands in, makes a throw and a catch, but it's short of the first. Let's see where they mark it. They're coming right in, and it might be just short. It'll be 4th down in a couple of inches.
This is a quarterback needs his receivers to make plays like this. It's a tough catch. It's a hard throw right on his face mask. Watch Tim Couch. Tim Couch feels the pressure. You see him throw it and cringe as he knows he's going to. That's why this Cleveland Browns team is just a little bit better than it was a year ago. They're playing there. They're throwing to the right guy at the right time, and they're catching the ball.
There is Dennis Northcutt, the Browns' second-round draft choice, who finished his career at Arizona #2 in Pac-10 history with 223 catches. He had 88 last year for over 1,400 yards in a college season.
And this is a good move by Chris Palmer. They're going to go for a 4th and short, down by 3 touchdowns early in the 3rd quarter. You're going to need all the time you can to come back. That offense has to stay on the field, and he's going to give them a chance to do this with a 4th and about 6 inches.
Well, you know one thing, there's not a lot right up the middle. One guy that gets open, if they should ever play fake and pass, is the fullback, Mark Edwards. Couch takes it. He's got it. Tim Couch got ahead for a yard to the 45-yard line. That's a good way, not risking time lost nor the transition of possession of the ball. He keeps it himself.
More and more you get an idea of what kind of guy Tim Couch is. We found out a lot about him last year when he was sacked 56 times, and you never heard him complain. He stood up, he toughed it out, he came back into the game with split chins and split lip, and he took a lot of very good shots. And Chris Palmer, I think he knows that a lot of people in this league are beginning to respect that guy right there because of his toughness. And quarterback sneaks are something that quarterbacks don't usually like to do.
But he did it very well, got what he needed, and the Browns drive on their opening possession of the second half. Rhett, excellent play by Tony Bryant, a second-year rusher from Florida State, a defensive end, number 94, Tony Bryant, a loss of 4. Log on to NFL.com and track your favorite players with up-to-the-minute stats. It's all at NFL.com.
And this Raider defense showed up this second half with a little bit of nasty in them. I mean, Tim Couch is feeling it right. Completed a couple of throws, but this defense, you can just feel it here in the second half. They really feel like they've got some control over this Cleveland offense, and they're going to try and get right in the lap of Tim Couch.
Browns with 3 wide receivers, the tight end set to the right. Brown looking for an open man, and Couch finds one as he gets the ball out to the 44-yard line. A gain of just 3 brings up 3rd down and 11. Elijah Alexander was on Kevin Johnson just as he caught the ball.
Yeah, you can really tell this second half, this defense for the Raiders is a different defense. They're playing with much more energy. The defensive linemen are getting much more penetration. Tim Couch wasn't even close to getting sacked in the first half, and he's been running for his life in the pocket thus far in the 3rd quarter.
There is Bresnahan, the D coordinator for the Raiders, the former Browns assistant coach. He was with the Browns in 94-95. Couch changes his offensive set out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 11. Standing in, lobs the ball. It's tipped complete, and the Browns have to punt. Tony Bryant makes another play.
That was a Tony Bryant series right there. He had the sack, the tackle for a loss, and a batted ball. You see there, everybody loves the guy when he comes off after making a play, gets hugs and high fives all around. Tim Couch knows it's going to be a long afternoon here if he can't get his football team moving. You'll see Tony Bryant comes on the inside, right up in the face, and just gets the hand up enough. And that was not much of contact, but it doesn't take much when the ball comes in the back's hand.
Gardocki, who's never had a punt block, left foots the ball deep downfield. Darian Gordon cuts back to his 10, and the Browns, with terrific special teams play, take him down, a loss of about 2 yards on the return. 45-yard punt, and penalty markers do come in.
We'll have to wait until the officials, you know, on offense and defensive plays, when the flag comes in, usually from the direction you can tell what it's going to be, but on special teams, you just have until they tell you. Could be a hold, could be an illegal block in the back. Usually, more often than not, it's on the return team.
There's no foul in the play. The
How about
block
on
by
nobody,
number
Steve?
58 was from behind at the side. No foul.
Chris Palmer says, well, whatever's fair. But the Raiders will start at their 9 when we come back to Oakland. Raiders in command. Back to Oakland, and the Raiders with the ball, 28-7 lead. To the run they go. Not a whole lot going on up the middle as Wally Rayner, the middle backer, shuts down Tyrone Wheatley as we take a look at the Sunday stories.
There's been some good ones around the National Football League. How about Steve McNair? Just comes in the last 3 minutes of the game and wins it for him with a touchdown and a 55-yard drive. Then Eddie George also throwing in 27 rushes. There's a guy that loves to carry the ball. 27 rushes, a lot of carries. Tony Banks, they want him to complete about 59%, but 56% is good enough when he throws touchdowns.
That could be it for Coslett. 37-0. His team has scored 7 points in 3 games, a total to 7. Warwick has not ignited that offense yet. Napoleon Kaufman, who's ignited the Raiders with his breakaway running in previous weeks, not so much today. A short run as we look at Jamal Lewis, the rookie runner from Tennessee, who had a big day for the Baltimore Ravens. They go to Cleveland next Sunday.
Yeah, finally got his first start, got 116 yards. And then Jay Fiedler, 50% of his passes, but he had 2 interceptions. still won, or rather, they still won 10-3. And Drew Bledsoe, he's been sacked a lot and only completed less than half of his passes were completed. There's a guy that's struggling with a team around him that's struggling.
Yeah, Bill Belichick, the new coach of the New England Patriots, off to an 0-4 start.
Offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
5-yard penalty on a false start by Lincoln Kennedy, and named after 2 presidents. Ball is positioned at the 7-yard line. It's third down now and 12. Randy Jordan in the backfield. Sidearm throw, nicely done by Gannon as he triggers the ball downfield and gets it to Tim Brown for his second catch of the day. Now we go to New York and to Jim Nance. Jim?
All right, over and on. Kansas City down 12, but Elvis Grbac gets close here as he hooks up to Tony Gonzalez. Chiefs are back in it, mid-third. Let's go back now to Don and Steve.
Gonzalez, maybe the best tight end in the game, in the opinion of a lot of people, Steve, in the league.
Certainly the best pass-catching, route-running tight end in the league. He's a factor. There's no question about it.
Shane Leckler, who hit a 68-yarder. He gives you either or. This one's a short one. Look at Northcutt make the catch on the run. Courageous kid. He's 175 pounds. And Northcutt on the run fields the ball and gives the Browns on an 8-yard return field position at the 47. He's taking pictures of his beloved Raiders. We're taking pictures of him. Look at these guys.
They don't mess around in the black hole.
You got the black hole name trademarked. They sell black hole apparel if you're interested. First and 10 Browns. Brett finds a gap and shoots into it. Gets ahead inside the 45-yard line of the Raiders. A gain of about 4 yards on the play. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS hits regional games featuring Kurt Warner and the Super Bowl champion Rams playing host to the San Diego Chargers. Meanwhile, the Steelers take on Mark Brunell and the Jaguars, or Tim Couch leads his Browns against the powerful defense and offense of the Ravens. Others will see Peyton Manning and the Colts take on the Bills. Check local listings beginning with Jim, Craig, Jerry, and Randy, Mike and Marcus. NFL Today. Second down and 7. Couch stands in, makes a throw, and a good defensive play as the D-back came in at the opportune moment. The former Brown, Marquez Pope, arriving just as the ball did to break it up.
No, I think Marquez Pope arrived just a split second before the ball did, but it was such a bang-bang play. The officials watch here. That was an excellent play. Marquez Pope back in the lineup after being injured, playing very well. He's one of those guys around the league. This is his 5th football team that Marquez Pope has been on. He's played well everywhere he's been.
Now the Raiders set their defense against a sure throw on 3rd and 7. Couch from the shotgun. Stands in, steps up, delivers the ball, gets his man. First down. Beautifully caught by the sure-handed Darren Chiaverini, who now has 8 receptions, including 1 for a touchdown today. 9-yard gain on that play.
And this is the way it was in the first half. Has plenty of time to throw this football. Throws a perfect strike. Darren Chiaverini going down after the catch. And Chiaverini is a guy who lobbied for more playing time last year, and now this year has moved into the starting position.
The ball position there, Steve, right where only one guy could get it, Darren Chiaverini. And this offensive line in Cleveland is one of the most improved units of any unit on any team in the NFL. And these Raiders can rush the passer, and they're holding them off. Eric Rett runs, Greg Beaker tackles. There's a gain on the play down to the 30-yard line. Gain of about 3 or 4. A given forward's marked.
That guy, Greg Beaker's a guy. You talk to Chuck Bresnahan, that defensive coordinator. He says, you know, if I couldn't make the game and all my defensive staff guys got caught in traffic, Greg Beaker could still call a pretty good game. He's that much in tune with what goes on with that defense.
Second down. Couch and the Browns need 6. Down 28-7. Tim Couch changes the play. Raiders and blitzers. Were they in the gap? No flag. And here's Couch taking a look. Dumps it up the middle. Caught by Work, and he's inside the 20 and still working his way inside to the 15-yard line. Woodson finally gets him down. That was some great work by the quarterback and the receiver. 14-yard gain.
That is a big-time play by both of those guys. Tim Couch, he had happy feet, but he hung in the pocket, and this is why he's playing so much better this year. He stands in there. Watch how he looks at the rush real quick, and then he looks around and finds the open guy. That is the difference between this year and last year. And Mark Edwards is the guy who's been around this team since last year, and Couch has a lot of confidence in him. He's being able to hit the short guys.
Moving his feet around to get free like an Irish step dancer, and he makes the play. Play fakes, takes a look, makes a throw. Into the end zone, it's incomplete, shooting at Shiverini. Game clock with 3:24 left to play in the third quarter here at Oakland. Eric Allen was defending on the play, a 6-time Pro Bowl player. Back playing very well for the Raiders after a knee problem here.
And then he's back to where he was 2 years ago as well. He had a lot of interceptions 2 years ago, and then last year lost for the season. Actually, he's just been injured so much, and now he's only now getting back, but he is back to 100% and playing like it. You saw just there.
Play fake, swing pass, caught by the tight end Aaron Shea, and more good defense by the Raiders as Charles Woodson comes over the stop along with defensive end. Reagan Upshaw was also on the stop. So that brings up a third down call now for the Browns from the 12-yard line of the Raiders. Third down, they need 6.
See there, Tim Couch, he's showing the ability now more than ever to make every throw they ask him to make, and that puts a lot of pressure on a defense. Even this Raider defense, who thrives on man-to-man, has got to mind its P's and Q's to make sure they play it just right.
He's the guy to watch in the slot at the top of your screen. Here's a throw and a catch, and it's incomplete to Darren Shiverini. He ran out of the slot wide. Couch going to the sure-handed Shiverini, and the Browns will send out their field goal unit.
You see it. Even if Shiverini pulls this in, it's still not enough for the first down.
Not close.
Yeah, and then they're going to have to go for the 3 points here, and that's not what you want to settle for at this situation when you're down by 3 touchdowns. But it is the right call in this situation. 4th and 7 is not the time to go.
Some better than none. This will be a 30-yard field goal attempt by Phil Dawson, who was wide right on a 42-yarder, you may recall earlier. This one he drives through the middle, and the Browns have the first points of the second half for either team, and they cut the Raiders lead to 28-10 with 2:49 to play in the third quarter. Browns kick off when we come back to. Ready to kick off now is Phil Dawson, who hit the 30-yard field goal, and there's the return man back deep for the Raiders, David Dunn. I thought this guy was good. He's been with a few teams with the Bengals. He can motor. He's a big guy, and he can fly. He takes it 8 yards deep, and in his wisdom does not bring it out.
Now, one of the things is about finding a home in the NFL. Not, you got to find the right spot for yourself, and David Dunn's one of those guys that's been searching.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, how did Baku in the former Soviet Union get to be an American boomtown? It's the oil. Find oil, and you'll find American oil. Tonight on 60 Minutes. The Raiders on first down. Gannon eludes the rush somehow and then triggers a pass in the general direction of his fullback, John Ritchie. But Gannon, it's amazing, Steve, still able to bail out of trouble in his 13th year. This Cleveland defense now has got the Raiders slowed down in the second half.
Yeah, they seem to have stepped it up just a little bit. And I think, you got to know, too, the Raiders know they're up by 3 touchdowns. Now they're up by 18 points. They're really not pulling out all the stops to try and get down the football field. They like to make a few first downs, eat up a little clock, and stay healthy for next week, or actually going into the bye week.
You see Gannon's numbers today, 10 of 17 for 108 yards. Raiders turned it over 4 times last week against Denver. No turnovers today. Gannon stands in, takes a look. He's on the run, and he's sacked. Taken down by Darius Holland, the first sack of the day for the Browns defense. Their 15th of the year.
And that was a good coverage sack. Tim Brown came underneath in motion and tried to get loose. He just stoned 5 yards down the field by the linebacker, and Rich Gannon had nobody to throw to, and the pocket collapsed around him. The reason for that is the secondary receiver was blocked out by the rush around Rich Gannon as he stepped into the pocket, and Darius Holland rotating in with Stalin Kalane on that front for the Cleveland Browns.
3rd down and 10 now for the Raiders. 3 wide receivers. Gannon stands in against a blitz, fires and makes a connection to Tim Brown on the run in the open field. He's out to mid. Tim Brown with a gain of 30 yards on the play and a 1st down.
If Rich Gannon can buy just an extra half second in the pocket with 6 guys rushing the passer, you know that Tim Brown and Andre Rison and James Jett, somebody's going to get open, and Tim Brown has been doing it for 13 years. You see their great throw. You see how they're stepping sideways, throwing the ball down the field right on the money.
13 years in the league indeed, and still the first option in the pass offense. He's caught 2 today for 43 yards. Brown shut down Tyrone Wheatley on the run quickly. No gain. Let's get an update on the Buccaneers and the Jets as we go back to Jim in New York.
All right, Don, just a moment ago, the Jets trailing 10-6. Vinny Testaverde gets picked off by Rondé Barber, and he'll run it in for the touchdown to put the Bucs up 11 late 3rd. Let's go back out to Don and Steve.
Little love matchup.
The Keyshawn Bowl is a little one-sided right now.
Bulletin for Keyshawn Johnson. Please shut up. Play football. Is this guy, every soundbite you see is Keyshawn Johnson. This is not Daniel Webster, some order you want to hear. Napoleon Kaufman takes the ball over the middle for a 13-yard gain. It's a 1st down for the Raiders.
I sense a little resentment there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, enough is enough.
Well, he had 3 press conferences this week. You're right. I think that is enough. You see, Rich Gannon is doing exactly what the Raiders want. Hang on to the football. Keep your offense on the field. This is the defense for the Raiders that has defended 70 plays a week. Now it's the offense's turn.
We'll return to Oakland after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Every is Halloween.
I'm glad to see your family got the tickets.
It's a good group, isn't it? Here is a pitch back. Kaufman, he's so very fast. He finds a gap, shoots through it at 180 pounds, and he's down inside the 30, and he has a 1st down to the 27. 12-yard gain. The onside kick the Browns tried. Look at the big opening here. You can see
this is where they're trying to get the onside. They're trying to bounce it once right here and make it go way high into this area, but it just doesn't reach. Watch this. It comes up very short right into the hands of the front line, and they didn't have a chance to recover it, and they never recovered from that missed onside.
Now the Browns had driven down the field after taking the opening kickoff, scoring on a touchdown pass from Couch to Shiverini, and Kennedy now comes off the field. Offensive tackle of the Raiders shaken up, limping on his left leg. But and then the Raiders only had 43 yards to go. They took it down. Wheatley scored in a 2-yard run, and the game was tied. And they subsequently built the lead up to 28-7, where it stood at the half. Only 3 points scored so far in the second half, those by the Cleveland Browns. But the Raiders with an 18-point lead as this huge offensive tackle from the University of Washington limps to the sideline and is now walking a little better. Raiders, though, with a challenging position after the 1st down carry by Napoleon Kaufman. 1st down and 10. Pitch back. Wheatley. Good run defense by the Browns. Keith McKenzie from the end position comes over and sweeps him under. A loss on the play of a yard.
And Tyrone Wheatley has carried the ball a lot today, although they've gotten away from it in the second half because they've had a big lead. And Napoleon Kaufman has come in to give them a spark, but Keith McKenzie and that defensive line has seen a lot of that guy. And the problem is they've been able to read the name on the back of his jersey a lot of the time.
Now Gannon apparently changing the play as he looks to his right side. He's going to try a quick count and a lob pass near side, a fade pattern going for the ball, and it's broken up and intercepted. It is intercepted. Was he inbounds when he picked off the ball? Lewis Sanders, the rookie from Maryland, with a tremendous play. So the Browns stopped the Raider drive with an interception. Sanders with his 2nd interception, a 4th-round draft choice. Guy they said gets better, Steve, with every practice.
Well, what happened was they put everybody on the other side of the field and left James Jett, a world-class sprinter, alone with Lewis Sanders, and he made the play, but watch. What a great play, but does his foot come down in bounds? We'll wait and see.
While we were away, the Raiders called for a replay, and there is Larry Nemmers, the referee, looking at the replay, and we'll see if Sanders had both feet in. It appears, Steve, he did not when he intercepted it.
He's finally got it. There's 1 foot down, there's 2, and that's out of bounds. I think they're going to uphold this challenge.
Be an incomplete pass.
It'll be an incomplete pass. Now he's got it. There's 1 foot, and there's the other one, and it is definitely on the line. This play's going to come back to the Raiders. And we'll see. And that last foot is the one that came down. Watch this. Now he bobbles it once, obviously, bats it away from Jet. There he's got it. His right foot is down. His left foot is the one he's got to get in, and he just can't do it. The theory behind that play was to get James Jett one-on-one all by himself and just let him outrun the defender, and it did not work.
After review, the pass is incomplete. The intercepting player, second came down out of bounds.
Offense comes back out, and there still are no Raider turnovers in the game.
Well, after 1 minute and 7 seconds, Chris Palmer found out that the one break he was looking for this afternoon didn't come through. And now they're going to move the ball back to the previous spot after they had already set up for a first down for Cleveland. It's going to be 3rd down for the Raiders on the 27-yard line. That's my feeling right here. Throw for the end zone again. I mean, now their defense is discouraged. They almost had a big play. Put them on their heels and throw one for the end zone.
We know they're going to be throwing because they've got 11 yards to go. 3rd down and 11. Gannon stands in. On the run. Gannon takes a look, and they'll get him. Or will they? He gets out of bounds. But he gets out of bounds short of the first. He looks like he might hit. Let's see whether they mark him out. It's an 8-yard gain on the play. It's going to be short.
And this is his ability. You know it. Most quarterbacks, when they break and run like this to the sideline, you think, well, there's no way they're going to throw it. But right here, you see his confidence. He knows he can throw it on the run.
McKenzie got tackled.
There now, we're going to see Sebastian Janikowski, the kicker, the first-round draft pick of the Raiders, who is 2 for 5 on the year.
And here now is a field goal from the 27-yard line. It'll be a 37-yard attempt. It is up, and it's good, and the Raiders lead 31-10. Just win, baby. The motto of Al Davis, a team that has won 3 Super Bowls. I tell you, the Raiders have the personnel to go a long way. This is a very good football team. David Patton downs it in the end zone. Their defense came in ranked 27th overall, though, starting the day. And so now, on the touchback, the ball will come out to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Whenever the Goodyear blimp is hovering above a game with its camera focused on an event, you know we're going to get a unique view. Overhead is the Goodyear blimp Eagle. Beautiful day in Northern California. Temperature at kickoff in the high 60s. Although it tends to be a lot warmer on the field. Last week it was announced as 79 when the Broncos came here. It was over 100 on the field. Natural grass field, also home of the Oakland A's. But the infield's still down. Travis Prentice, the rookie runner, on a first down carry, takes it straight ahead. Prentice, a guy who scored 468 points in college in Ohio. 4th all-time rusher in NFL and NCAA history. This guy put up numbers. Drafted in the 3rd round. Couch stands in. Throws and gets a guy. It is Travis Prentice trying to get outside. He does, and works the sideline. It looks like for a first down. 8-yard gain and a first down on the pass play. William Thomas gets him out of bounds. This fall on CBS, meet the men and women of crime scene investigation. If you're a victim of crime, then your best hope for justice. William Peterson and Mark Helgenberger star in A Side of Crime solving that you've never seen. That's CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. Premieres Friday, October 6th after The Fugitive here on CBS. First down, Browns. Down by 18. 12:15 to play in the game. And the clock running. Couch sacked only once today. Throws to Prentice. Looks for a gap. Puts on a shake move and gets ahead for a gain of 4 yards. Corey James was right on him.
This Travis Prentice is obviously incorporated very well into the passing game. You see here, this is how Tim Couch has spread the football around. Running backs and wide receivers catching the bulk of the passes. And he always likes to give the tight ends a bone or two. He caught 3 balls for 19 yards. That's why Tim Couch is so well. He's running a complete offense.
And now Couch is sacked for just the 2nd time this day. Only the 5th time this season, or the 4th time this season. And Roderick Coleman's the guy who gets him. A 2nd-year pass rusher from East Carolina, number 57.
And this is what we spoke about earlier. Tim Couch has just got to get rid of this football. He's back there. He took a deep drop. When he feels the pressure, don't always think that you can always get away. It's a skill to learn to throw the football away.
Ball on the field. Browns have it. Zaharsky recovers the fumble. Well, the Raiders rush now, Steve, just teeing off and coming full bore.
It's about to get out of hand. You can tell the Raiders defense is really coming. And when you're in a shotgun formation and you know the defense is really coming, sometimes the offensive line can get a little bit skittish, and a shot snap is not the easiest thing to execute.
Gardocki booms another punt. Darian Gordon stands under it, runs it back from his 43. And gets a rude welcome from the Browns coverage team. Marty Moore led the way. So a 40-yard punt and no return. Raiders have it when we come back. This is Don Criqui back at Oakland, California. Raiders looking to build their record to 3-1. Coming off a loss last week to their hated rival Denver. And now they look to run the clock, holding to a 31-10 lead. Wheatley runs the ball for 6 yards before Wally Rayner brings him down. This week the Browns had to part company with Orlando Brown. Here is the incident last December against Jacksonville when the flag thrown by the referee Jeff Triplett accidentally hit Orlando Brown in the eye, and Brown, just furious, lost control, pushed the referee down. But little did anyone know at that time how serious the eye injury was, and Orlando Brown unable to play football, and the Browns released him this week. Very popular guy with the team and the fans, and a terrific player, but he's just unable to compete with the eye injury.
Yeah, he gets dizziness and physical exertion, and you know, Chris Palmer said, you know, it was tough on Orlando to be around the team because he wanted to play so badly, and yet anytime he tried to do anything of that nature, you know, he became disoriented.
Chris Palmer said it was one of the most difficult things he had to do when he had the conversation with Orlando Brown. I asked when we talked to Chris Palmer yesterday, Steve, if he thinks Orlando Brown will ever play again. He said, well, not this year. Yeah, so maybe he'll be back. Hopefully he'll be able to renew his career. Zeus, as they call him. Gannon, workmanlike day, throws to his fullback, John Ritchie. Marquis Smith rides him out of bounds, but after he gets 4 yards and a down.
The Raiders have absolutely been methodical in their execution on both sides of the ball today. Rich Gannon, that's one of the things that he gives you as a quarterback. He had the great year last year, but this year I think even more so. When his offense and when he's running this type of game, it just feels like the whole offense is in so much control. They get the play they need. The running game works a little better. The controlled passing game is just unstoppable. And with the weapons he has, they're an awfully good football team.
Yeah, he's been very methodical indeed and very effective. A 13-year veteran. And a stop is made as the run by Wheatley is ahead for maybe a gain of a yard. Gannon, very tough guy. He stands in and takes the hits, can pass on the run. Came in hitting 61% of his passes, and he ran for 3 touchdowns in that comeback victory over the Colts. But the big thing he does, even in 13th year in the league, he keeps plays alive with his feet. He dodges trouble.
Yeah, he's mobile. He's not a running quarterback, but he's a quarterback who uses his athletic ability to give himself more time. When you can give those receivers more time, that's a potent weapon.
One year in '97 at Kansas City, he led the Chiefs to a 13-3 record. And then when Elvis Grbac was healed from an injury, Marty Schottenheimer put Grbac in for the playoffs, and they lost. And here's a throw and a catch downfield to Ricky Dudley, the tight end. They were expecting to get a dose of Dudley, who's been kind of quiet in the pass offense of the Raiders. And Dudley's having a good day. That's his third catch.
That's one of the things. If you don't have a tight end like, say, for instance, Shannon Sharpe or Ben Coates, the way Baltimore Ravens do, you want a tight end like Ricky Dudley, who may not catch 8 or 9 balls a game, but when he does, he's a weapon and can go the distance. He's a guy that can
good for a
catch
7-yard gain.
Yeah, he makes catches under clutch conditions, and there again, that's not the athletic ability we were talking about earlier.
Happened there? He faint or no? He's all right. Would he hit him? Here's a handoff, and Napoleon Kaufman runs and gets a little bit as the Raiders just pound away with 7:23 left to go. Next Sunday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, the fastest racers on 2 wheels rip at speeds up to 175 miles an hour at the wrenchhead.com Superbike Classic. Maybe we'll get Glanville to ride in that.
He'll drive anything with a gas
anything
pedal.
fast.
Yeah. He'll drive anything with a gas pedal or a throttle.
Well, he's raced motorcycles also.
Oakland is one of the best teams in the National Football League. You just saw that small graphic. They score touchdowns when they get close. They're very good at it.
In the red zone now, the opponent's 20-yard line in. Some are starting to call it the green zone because it's the go area to get points.
Some guys will try anything.
Yeah. The Raiders are off next week. Then they travel across the bay to Candlestick to play the 49ers. The Browns will be back at Cleveland Brown Stadium in Cleveland to play the Baltimore Ravens next week. Browns huddling at their leisure.
The Raiders obviously using every bit of the play clock they can. They want to get this game over with.
This is the first meeting between these two teams in Oakland since 1979. Here's a throw to the end zone. Off the hands of the receiver. David Dunn, a big rangy wide receiver from Fresno State. The most famous meeting, of course, between these two teams was in January of 1981, that playoff game in the Ice Bowl at Cleveland.
And you see here, 31-10 is the score. David Dunn's getting an opportunity to play in the regular offense. That play you'd like him to make, and that's the play when he lays in bed. Even though they're going to probably go on to win this game, he's going to lay in bed tonight and think about that catch all night.
Setting up now for a looks to be like a 31-yard field goal for Sebastian Janikowski. You see he's 1 for 1. Came into the game with just 2 of 5. He told me yesterday he's hit from 74 yards away in practice at Florida State. I said, would you have Hurricane Bob behind you? He said, no, no wind.
No wind.
Guess he put on a show at the scouting combine in Indianapolis. It's legendary. Low snap, but the set down is good. And it's up and good. So Janikowski to another field goal, and the Raiders extend their lead to 34-10. Back to Oakland. There is the owner and president of the Oakland Raiders, Al Davis. He was actually the American Football League Coach of the Year back in 1963. He actually took over as coach of the Raiders when he was 33 years old. John Madden was also 33 when he first coached the Raiders in '69. So John Gruden was only the 3rd youngest head coach of the Raiders when he got the job at 34. Patton starting to run wide. Cut down, a good open field play. And making it was Calvin Branch. We talked about that game from the 1980 season. This was January 4th, 1981 at Cleveland Stadium. Into the end zone was Van Egan for the Raiders in this playoff game. Wind chills down to 40 below. Brian Sipe trying to throw to the end zone for what could have been a winning touchdown, but it's intercepted by Mike Davis, and the Raiders would go on to beat the Eagles and become up to then the only wild card team to win a Super Bowl. I remember Jim Garrett, one of the offensive coaches, saying what Rutigliano said to Sipe before that final play. He said, if Ozzie Newsome isn't open, throw it in Lake Erie and we'll kick the field goal. But he tried to force it in. Mike Davis made the interception. Raiders win, and they went on, beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. There's one other wild card team that's won a Super Bowl, and that was a couple years ago when Denver did it.
False start prior to the snap.
And I was at that game with John Brody.
Offense, 5 yards, still second.
It was a tough day in Cleveland on the lake.
A little chilly down there. You look back at these times and great history of this, both this Cleveland Brown franchise and the Oakland Raider franchise, and a lot of the stadiums where all this history took place don't exist anymore. As the NFL moves into the new millennium with their stadiums and their new franchises.
Couch throws up the middle, and it's incomplete as the Raiders are now really hunting with their pass rush. Al Davis has been a signal figure in pro football through the years. Here he is with Sid Gilman at the very early days of the American Football League. There he is as he was coach of the year in '63 in the AFL. The Raiders later with a great friend of yours.
Yeah, that's
and
Ralph C. Wilson, the founding owner and still owner of the Buffalo Bills, who I spoke to Al before the game, and he said he talks to Ralph about once a week.
Couch stands in, throws it away, and that will be a safety.
That's the second safety of the year by the Oakland Raiders defense. He's throwing this away, but he can throw this away because he's still between the tackles.
Yeah, intentional grounding in the end zone for safety.
And he did it in the end zone, and that counts as 2 points for the defense. I mentioned it was the second safety. The Raiders versus the Chargers, week 1. Ryan Leaf hands the ball off, and bang, Darrell Russell and the rest of the defense. That's a safety. Those don't happen that often, and the Raiders have done it twice in the first month of the season. This is a great start for the Silver and Black here in Oakland.
So John Gruden, who saw a very bitter defeat last week against their arch enemies, the Denver Broncos, sees his team rally back today. Tonight on CBS, how did Baku and the former Soviet Union get to be an American boomtown? It's the oil. Find oil and you'll find American oil. As tonight on 60 Minutes, then Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger, and Russell Crowe lead an all-star cast in the Oscar-winning Prom Saga. It will keep you riveted. Don't miss the network premiere of LA Confidential. It's all tonight on CBS. 5:34 left to go, and now the Browns will free kick from their 20. They elect to have their punter, Gardocki, hit the ball. Better coverage on a high punt. Gardocki booms it downfield. They set up the return. And here comes David Dunn across the 45, and he's out close to the 47-yard line.
One of the things that's always been made a lot of in recent years when you have the draft. These are the first 5 picks of this year's draft. And here, I'm going to give you my grades here, Don, okay?
All right,
Courtney
Professor.
Brown, he's slow start, but he had 3 sacks last week. I'll give him a B+. LeVar Arrington hasn't started, has been a non-factor in Washington. This guy's playing left tackle for a team premier position. He's doing well. Peter Warwick has not been sparked. They've scored less than a touchdown a game. Jamal Lewis, I think he's an incomplete. He's been injured, maybe with an asterisk, because he did get 116 yards rushing today.
What was that you gave Arrington, a C or an L there? What's that, a C?
Arrington, he got a C. You didn't read my right.
Here's Bobby Hoying, a former Buckeye from Ohio State, in now to mop up, and they'll go to the run as he gives the ball to Randy Jordan, as the Raiders with the luxury of using backup troops now to run the clock as they have command of the game 36-10.
We talk about those guys who were drafted as Bobby Hoying's in the game and Courtney Brown is still in the game for the Browns, but I don't feel so bad grading those top 5 picks in the draft. You can do that when you're, a 9th round draft pick, and I don't have a problem casting aspersions on those guys.
Well, if they get to the Pro Bowl 7 times like you did, that would
I guess they
validate it.
They weren't the pick, I guess.
I might go with Courtney Brown. You look at the tape of this guy week after week, he might be close to that A category. He had a lot of quarterback back pressure. Everybody lamenting he didn't have any sacks, but sometimes quarterback pressures can be just as good, particularly if you turn them over.
That's exactly right. Now the Raiders, and it never gets any better than this for a football team. The game is virtually won. You're up 36-10 with 4 minutes to go, and you're on the sidelines. You know what? It's been a good day at the office for Rich Gannon. Solid game. They feel good. And these are those nights when you want to stay up as late as you can, because as soon as Rich Gannon goes to sleep, it's no longer Cleveland Sunday. It's bye week Monday. He's got to start thinking about next week.
Third down coming up for Bobby Hoying, a fifth-year player. Makes the throw. Ball on the field. Looked like a catch. Is it a live ball? They're going to rule it incomplete. Very nearly a catch and a fumble recovery as Jameer Miller picked it up and took off. Wally Rayner put the stick on in a big one.
David Dunn almost pulls this in. This would have been a fantastic catch. He just needed another 1/10 of a second to pull it in. Right here you see bang. All he needed was another 1/10 of a second, but he didn't get it. Wally Rayner taking out a little bit of the frustration of the Cleveland defense right there on David Dunn.
And born to hit, Wally Rayner. Middle back of the Browns, and the Raiders now will punt the ball to Cleveland. Dennis Northcutt is back, standing at the 10-yard line, and there is Shane Leckler, the rookie punter from Texas A&M. After 2 new kickers this year, that was a problem for the Raiders last year. It hops into the end zone for a touchback, and the Browns will have the ball 1st and 10 after a 49-yard punt, 29 net at their 20-yard line. There's Tim Couch. His day's work apparently done. He's in good health. They're just going to, with the game out of reach, going to put in the backup. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS in the game between the Cleveland Browns and the Oakland Raiders. I'm Don Criqui along with Steve Tasker. And our score is the Raiders leading 36-10. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast. Now coming in to quarterback is Spurgeon Wynn, a rookie from Southwest Texas State. Guy with a big arm. You need a long ball, you can throw it. Spurgeon Wynn takes a look. He's on the run. Penalty markers are fired in. Brady Jackson trips him up. Might be signal is against the Browns. Could be a holding call.
Brady Jackson saying, decline the penalty so I can get the sack. Decline the penalty. Let me keep my sack.
Holding, offense, number 72, penalty declined, 2nd down.
Yeah, that's his 3rd sack.
Spurgeon Wynn, he does have a big arm. You see there coming out of Southwest Texas State, who actually transferred from the University of Minnesota early in his college career.
6th-round choice. He had some good moments in the preseason for the Browns. Doug Peterson is also one of their quarterbacks. Of course, Peterson ready to play. He's got the system down now after Ty Detman went out with an Achilles injury against the Bears in a preseason game. Here's a throw downfield, and it went very near to a lot of people, but none of them Browns. Dennis Northcutt was in the area. Darrell Russell putting a big hit on. He busted through the pass blocking and put a hit on the quarterback. 3rd and 13 arises.
These are the plays that they have had today. Today they've had 53 plays. They had over 70 plays for the first 2 weeks. This was the key they want to do. Only 53 plays for that defense, and that has been the difference. They're a lot fresher in the 4th quarter, and it has showed in the pass rush.
Browns against an all-out pass rush. Like to go to the run, and Eric Redd is ahead for a gain of 5 yards on the play. That's well short of a 1st down, and so the Browns send out punter Gardocki once again with the clock running and 3:12 left to go. Gardocki $5,000 lighter in the wallet after he was fouled by Joey Porter.
We've both seen the hit, and we were talking about it. The hit was not a dirty hit that Gardocki took, but it was cheap. It was not dirty, but it was cheap.
And it was the gesture he made to the sideline of the Steelers that resulted in the $5,000 fine is now the return straight up the middle of the field by Darian Gordon is across the 30 and out close to the 34.
Earlier in the game, we talked about the task at hand for both teams. The Cleveland Browns, they needed to give Napoleon Kaufman a complex. That running game killed them today. Tim Couch, he had sacked twice and he also had two interceptions. Cleveland didn't get either one of those completed. Oakland, they needed to keep the off the field, and of course we just spoke about the fact that they have been able to do that, and they are obviously their mantra to get into the bye week at 3-1 and not 2-2, and today it's just win, baby, for the Oakland Raiders.
But the young Browns will be back to play today. They'll go to 2-2 on the season, and who knows, could have still have a share of first place in the AFC Central at the end of this week's play. The Jacksonville Jags will be playing at Indianapolis tomorrow night. Randy Jordan, a 7-year back from North Carolina, running hard. A guy who blocked the punt and ran it in for a touchdown against the Raiders last week. There's Bresnahan. Winners tell jokes. Losers say deal.
That's it. There's no better time to be a football player than when the game is won and you're still waiting for the clock to run out.
It'll be a 30-second timeout.
30-second timeout with 2 minutes and 27 seconds left to play.
And of course, there's no worse feeling on the Browns sideline when the clock's still running and you've got no chance to win.
The Raiders have not been to the playoffs since '93. One of the winning franchises of all time in the NFL. Taking on water, as our moving graphic shows. You see in the 70s won over 69%, the 80s 61%, under 50%. In the decade of the 90s, only 3 playoff appearances.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, they've got the bilge pump working now. They're not taking on water this year. They're 3-1 start, and they are sailing very pretty across the waters of the NFL right now.
Well, they'll go to 3-1 with this win today. And the 49ers, who they hook up with next on October 8th at Candlestick Park. I mean, everybody wrote the 49ers off, but they went down and blasted the Cowboys today. Here's Bobby Hoying on a fake. Rolled out long ball. Incomplete. Lewis Sanders running stride for stride with David Dunn.
Lewis Sanders has had a nice day today as a defensive back. He's been left on an island with a couple of very good receivers. David Dunn trying to get deep. Lewis Sanders is right there. Has really done well today. He's the nickel back for the Cleveland Browns. So he doesn't start, but he has more than held his own today against a very difficult core receivers for the Raiders.
Well, the Raiders taking an over-the-top shot, trying to build a lead in an already out-of-reach game as they lead at 36-10. And now to the run. That'll take us down to the 2-minute warning. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS in the game between the Browns and the Raiders. I'm Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Our score is Oakland 36, Cleveland 10. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast, as the 2-minute warning is given. Raider fans, something to celebrate. Back in a moment. They're in command 36-10 with 2 minutes to play in the game. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Browns with a lot of good young players, still a work in progress. The Raiders impressive.
That's right. And the Browns are finding out as Tim Couch goes, so go the Cleveland Browns. And his 2 interceptions are really the big difference in the scoring in the first half and really the game.
Now the ball hit downfield and picked up by Northcutt. And he is rudely thrown to the turf. Kansas City has now gone in front of Denver 23-22. That's a surprise. Denver seemed to be had that game well in hand.
Got the lead before halftime, and then the Chiefs came storming back. These Raiders, after the 2 interceptions, really started to steamroll.
That was the killer.
Yeah, you could feel the emotion change. It started with the onside kick that the Browns tried the first time they kicked off after they'd scored on the opening drive, and they never recovered. And the Raiders got stronger and stronger and more emotional as the game wore on.
Spurgeon wins, swings it out, gets it to his tight end, Aaron Shea, for not very much. Shea inbounds and the clock runs. with 1:38 left to play in the game.
Trivian Smith also joining on the tackle.
You know, John Gruden, we spoke to him and he said, "Do you think you're better this year than you have been? You've been 8-8 the last 2 years." He says, "Well, yeah, we're better, but who cares? We still have to prove it on the field." Today they've taken a big step towards that.
Throw and a drop. As Aaron Shea is unable to handle the ball, and there's Chris Palmer in his second year, obviously with a much better team this year and a long way to go this season, but he as a quarterback in his second year came in with a quarterback rating of almost 108, which is extraordinary. Second in the NFL.
Yeah, and you see Chris Palmer there, his philosophies and his thoughts about football. His team is a little more confident in them now. They feel more comfortable, and now Cleveland Browns are finding out ways they can help Chris Palmer and his philosophy take shape a little more. Everybody in that sideline is a little more comfortable, even though the outcome today didn't go their way.
Right tackle for the Browns was in motion a bit early, and so the
Prior to the snap, full start offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
That's the third time today that Steve Zahersky has moved early as he looks to set up, but this guy has been a good player. He's kind of a surprise guy. Kent State. They didn't expect him to be a terrific tackle, but so far this year he's been very strong.
Well, he's the guy that took over for Orlando Brown after his injury, and I think they feel real good about him over there. Played extremely well on the offensive line, and as has the whole group of guys up front this year.
Browns with about 300 yards offense against the Raiders, but only 10 points. Now we have a whistle before the snap of the ball. Another penalty marker is thrown. Another false start.
Number 86, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Not a bad idea sometimes to run the ball when you're down 36-10. There is John Huffnagel, quarterback coach for the Browns. Dennis Northcutt moved early that time, but the Browns are going to take some shots from deep in their own end. Line of scrimmage now the 6-yard line. Down in 16. Here comes the rush. Swing pass. It's caught by Prentice, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds at about the 18-yard line and short of a first down. A 10-yard gain on the play. Travis Prentice makes the catch.
And they're going to go ahead. This is 4-down territory. They, it's not so much that they believe that they can score a touchdown or get a first down. They want Spurgeon Wynn to get a little experience. He's in a tough spot here. He's got no chance of winning this football game, but they're putting him in a regular season game because sooner or later they're going to hope it pays off for them.
Wynn throws and a drop by Travis Prentice with 1:07 left to play. Al Davis not happy last week as he saw his Raiders beaten by Denver, but a much improved performance today.
Just one, baby. John Gruden, one of the most hands-on head coaches in the National Football League. You can see that Chris Palmer's going to think about this one a lot.
The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. The coordinating director is Larry Cavallina. Today's game was produced by Jim Rickoff and directed by Kathy Barretto. And we thank them all. Our statistician, CBS statistician Bill George, as right now the Raiders will let the clock tick down. They'll have a play to run. The senior producer of the NFL today is Eric Mann, and the director is Bob Matina. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The associate director of today's game was Sean Robbins. The broadcast associate was Jonathan Siegel, and the technical manager was Steve Gorsuch. So it's back to Cleveland for Coach Palmer and his young quarterback and team, and to get ready for the Baltimore Ravens, who really ripped it up today, blasting the Cincinnati Bengals and maybe jeopardizing the future of their coaching staff for the Bengals. Down was a 37-0.
That may well happen. That's a club that has struggled more so than any other team in the National Football League.
Gannon and Couch, part of the quarterback fraternity, exchange pleasantries, and that will do it as the Raiders win the game 36-10. Raiders go to 3-1, and getting good news that the Chiefs had gone up at Denver. Now for Steve Tasker, this is Don Criqui saying so long from Oakland, where the final score is the Oakland Raiders 6, the Cleveland Browns 10. Coming up next on CBS, 60 Minutes except on the West Coast. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 35. Thanks for joining us.
All-stop. Oh, hit hard, and the Jets say there's a loose football and that they have it, and they do.
I was going to say, Greg, Randall McDaniel, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, came in with like their goal line running formation. He was the running back there. I couldn't see who made the hit that caused the fumble. Look at Mike Alstott. You protecting the football. Marvin Jones, number 55, gets in there and makes the hit.
And then Victor Green has the loose football.
And Victor Green, he's been around the football all day today.
Third turnover of the day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Jets now not with just a chance to tie, but with a chance to win this game. 1st and 10 from the Tampa Bay 24. They have 2 timeouts remaining.
Where they are at right now would be a 41-yard field goal to try to tie the game.
Martin cuts inside of blocks, inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Clock continues to move. We have a minute and a half to play.
This reminds me of something that Al Grohl told us yesterday. Running the football. Can you do it in the red zone, and can you do it in the fourth quarter? That's when you know you're a good running football team. And the Jets right there, lining up and getting, 6 critical yards, try to score, but to get in better position for a field goal if they want to tie it up.
If there has been a script for the Jets this year, it's been come from behind. Martin gonna throw it to the end zone. Trebet, touchdown!
What a call by Dan Henning to put the football in the hands of a running back trying to make a throw to win a football game.
How sweet must this be for number 80? The object of that man's ire all week long. He refused to fire back and has pulled in what stands now to be the winning score.
Well, it was a nice catch as Curtis Martin being a running back out there, and it wobbled quite a bit, and Wayne Corbett just adjusted to the ball and made a nice catch. But what a call.
This is a most important extra point. It would force the Buccaneers to go for a touchdown rather than a game-tying field goal. John Hall's kick is good. The New York Jets put 15 points on the board in the last 62 seconds and have taken a 21-17 lead.
Watch Curtis Martin. They've just run the football one time. Oh, and you can see Brian Kelly, number 25, comes up for the run, and then Damian Robinson, the safety, not able to get back over there and protect him. But what a good call. You've just run the football. You pick up 6 yards. You come back. Oh, and a nice job by Wayne Corbett.
And Vinny Testaverde says, that had a job. Wayne Corbett picks off the latest in a bunch of floaters from the New York Jets today, but Keyshawn Johnson, oh, you know what he's thinking.
Well, you know what? You know what he's thinking? It doesn't surprise him. Look, he played in that offense for a few years. He knows it does a little bit of everything. When we got ready, like we went, Greg, at the beginning of the year, we went up to the Green Bay Packers, the first game of the year the Jets had. The Green Bay Packers spent 20 minutes going over Jet, what they call gadget plays, reverses, screens, people throwing the football, the halfback throwing the football. So everybody knows that they have the bag of tricks, but the call in that situation, hey, even if you're ready for it, it's going to catch you by surprise.
And we mentioned this earlier. On Friday, John Lynch, the Bucs safety, said, we are concerned about finishing the Jets off. Teams have had them down but couldn't finish. That's been the story in each of their games this season.
Especially the New England, the Green Bay game, the first game of the year.
Hall reaches the end zone again. Stecker will not run it out. And so the Bucs will start from their own 20-yard line with 2 timeouts and 52 seconds on the clock. What a game.
What a turnaround. And, you know, listen, we sit here and do the games. It's 17-6. Ray Lucas goes in, doesn't get a first down. And I'm thinking, oh, well, it was still a good game. Still a good game at 17-6. I was happy to be here, watch it. 2 solid teams. But to see the Jets react so well under the pressure again. And it's so many of those situations. I know I heard Randy Cross say it many times during the Jet preseason games. They practice a lot of these tough situations, and they're getting rewarded with them or for them in the game so far this year.
From the shotgun, King lost the football. The Jets say they have it. And they do. John Abraham with the hit behind the line of scrimmage. Brian Cox came up with the football.
And what did we say a little earlier? Al Groh told us yesterday, John Abraham and Brian Cox, he tries not to give them too many plays during the game, so when the game is on the line in the fourth quarter, they are fresh and they can rush the passer, and we've seen it every single week. Look at number 94. This guy has some explosion. He reminds me a lot of Charles Haley, the pass rusher the San Francisco 49ers got years ago.
Wayne Corbett. That about says it all.
But boy, John Abraham, has he been something?
Testaverde will take a knee.
You know, Greg, we saw the Buccaneers. I thought they'd cross a tremendous hurdle. They lost games like this last year, and you thought that won't happen to them now. They've crossed that hurdle, but today they made the big mistakes in the clutch, and the Jets took advantage of it.
Tony Dungy, you have to figure his team did everything it wanted to do today, pretty much.
Well, as a team, and you're playing in these games, you're at home, and when you get your team in the ideal position that you just strive for every game, ahead, the other team passing, you got one of the best defenses in the National Football League, you expect to close the deal. And when you don't, it's a surprise, but it's also a tremendous credit to the team you're playing.
The Bucs have just burned their final timeout. We remind you tonight on CBS, how did Baku and the former Soviet Union get to be an American boomtown? It's the oil. Find oil and you'll find American oil tonight on 60 Minutes. Then Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger, Russell Crowe lead an all-star cast in the Oscar-winning